Look, I know guys that stay home until they get married.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think it's great. Like, if I had my time again, like I would. You know, but you know, for me, I had to move away from home to gain further opportunity for work. Yeah. But you know, I think it's great staying at home. You know, like most parents want their kids to stay at home anyway, even if you have to pay board. Like it's not that much, you know.
And I don't know if this is on topic too much, but even the use of parents' equity. Not saying demanding money off them, but at least have the conversation with them to see where they're at with it all. Because if it is a potential possibility, I mean, for example, what we do with our clients is if they were to use equity on their parents' property, I mean, one of our goals is to make sure that we can find a property that is going to grow in capital growth very quickly from the word go, basically, so that we are able to pay the parents back, because we don't want to have the parents have gone out of their way to help their children. The least we could do, or not so much us, but at least the children anyway, and morally it should be right for them to go back to say, Mum, Dad, thank you very much for helping me. Here's your money back, essentially. You know, I think to get into the market quicker anyway, that is, you know, if you don't have a high paying job, because not everyone gets paid well, you know, as simple as that. It's not everyone gets paid well, but they do want to get into the market, you know, and if these opportunities do exist, like I said, parental equity and stuff like that, using them as guarantors and whatnot, again, at least have the discussion with them, open the discussion up with them. It might not be decided on, you know, the night you bring it up, but at least continue to the discussion. You know, they might have questions to say, well, how do you plan on paying me back? You know, and engage in a professional and ask, you know, what are my options if I were to use this? How, you know, because do you know what I'm saying? Like
the baby boomer market, for example, our parents, yep. They've done quite well if they're in the market. Most of them are. Mm-hmm. They've done quite well out of the recent sort of boom in prices. So hopefully, you know, they've bought well. They're in you know, good areas where they can tap into their equity that they've just newly sort of earned. Yep. And you're saying to our millennial listeners to approach their parents and say, look, you know, go as a guarantor, maybe could be $100,000, $50,000, whatever it is, to help support that first deposit, because at the end of the day, it's generational wealth anyway.
It is.
They're probably going to inherit it anyway. There's no harm in kind of fast forwarding that, because it's helping them out, and they're probably going to get paid back the money anyway if they buy well. So that's a really good tip for people in today's market, because it's so hard now. But I really want to kind of bring it back and talk about potentially people that I want to talk to the people that have parents that don't have property. So their parents are still renting. And, you know, so there is pressure on them to kind of get into the market now. You know, what do we say to these guys? Like, we can tell them all day to sacrifice and all of that sort of thing. You know, and you just mentioned just then, maybe they don't, you know, earn as much money. Maybe we suggest to those people, if they're not earning that much money and say their parents aren't, you know, they're not in the property market, maybe we suggest to those people to invest in themselves first, so they can earn more money, and then so their income increases, so then they can save more and then put it towards a deposit maybe in a different market.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and I think people overlook investing in themselves first before investing in a property, because they're so focused on just saving money, but a lot of, you know, I'm hearing a lot of people saying, but wages aren't going up. And, well, I feel that wages aren't going up because you're not investing in yourself. If you invest in yourself to enhance your skills, then most of the time you're going to be able to bring more value to the workplace or the marketplace, and you're going to get paid more.
Correct.
So once you get paid more, you're able to save more. But what's really interesting is that a lot of my friends who own a lot of property actually aren't on high wages. It's because they've been on the wage of, say, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, where they've appreciated every dollar that they've earned. So they've really, really kind of made use of every single dollar that they've got. Whereas my friends who are doctors and lawyers and they're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. What happens is that their lifestyles go up. So they live in a better house, they drive a better car, they wear more expensive clothes, they go to better restaurants, all of those sort of things. So it's all relative. So they're probably worse off than the people who are around the $60,000-$70,000 a year. So, what tips do you reckon you could give our listeners out there who are really, really struggling with saving for the first deposit?
Yeah, agreeing with what you said just then in regards to the investing in yourself. I think that's the biggest one, really, when you think about it, because if you are at a dead end, well, where are you going to go? You can get another job in the same industry doing the same thing, maybe getting a couple of dollars more, but let's be real. I mean, it's probably not going to really help you that much, or definitely not that much quicker anyway. So I guess it's that would be number one. I think I completely agree with you on that. I don't really have any more that I could add. I don't think besides that to begin with anyway. Because that's the first step. I mean, once you take that first step, don't worry about what everyone else is doing as well. This goes back, just like you just mentioned, to investing in yourself. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Don't worry that you're not in the market yet. The market keeps growing. Yeah, we understand that. The market will always keep growing, and the market has been growing for decades and decades and decades, and it won't ever stop. It may plateau, but it won't ever stop growing. And if it does crash, I mean, which chances are very high that it won't, it's still going to eventually come back up again. There's no doubt about that. So kind of clear your mind of keeping up with everyone else. Don't do it because your mate next to you's got 2-3 properties, because like we mentioned in a previous podcast, it's irrelevant. It matters for what you want to achieve, and that's the main goal here. And do it for the right reasons. Don't just do it, yes, we want to create wealth, of course, but we also want to learn what we're doing while we're creating wealth. We don't just want to, because some people have invested very poorly. There's been some very, very poor investments over time where people have had properties for 10 plus years and they practically haven't grown at all, and they've almost been in the negative, in regards to after selling the property, when I say that, I mean after their fees and whatnot.
So you're saying don't get into a property just for the sake of it?
Don't get into a property just for the sake of it, 100%. It's just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Maybe property's not for you. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Mm-hmm. Maybe you like playing with foreign exchange. Maybe you like playing with stocks. Maybe you just like going overseas. But the fact that everyone around you's doing it, you feel like you got to do it. If it's not within your heart, don't do it. That's what I feel anyway.
So what for me, I guess, going through the saving process, I actually enjoyed it. Like I hear a lot of people kind of sort of whinging and whining about it. Like one of the biggest things that I went through with saving for my deposit was my girlfriend at the time. She, who is now my wife. We kind of made it like a really fun game. So we would try and find the cheapest cuts of meat to use when we go and cook, and we'd really see it'd almost be like a game to see who could cook the cheapest meal, or what things we could do for fun which didn't cost any money, or even going to work together and doing work together and earning money together, you know what I mean? So we actually made it a really fun process, and I think the biggest takeaway from that would be, if you have a partner, get them involved in your saving plan and get them motivated. Get them to hold you accountable, but get them motivated and excited to save with you, because then when you both can see that long-term goal in sight, it makes it a lot more easier. If you're with someone that's on another page who is living this extravagant lifestyle, and you're just going to work and saving, that relationship is just not going to work. So that's probably one of the biggest takeaways I think from this podcast would be, get your partner involved with and on the same page to saving for that deposit, because once you are on that same playing field, it makes it a much more enjoyable experience. And till this day, I still enjoy saving money with my wife. Obviously now it's all of our money, but we enjoy it. We really do enjoy. I guess that's why we're quite good at doing business, because we're quite frugal with our money. But we wouldn't be in the position we are today in our early 30s, you know, with multi-million-dollar property portfolios and businesses under our belts if we didn't live that lifestyle for the last 10 years. So, you know, it was a team effort. I owe a lot to my wife, and, you know, for those of you who are listening out there, I would recommend if you are in a relationship, get your partner on board, because it makes it so much more enjoyable, and you know, and you just get to understand the process a lot more
and have fun with it. Going on the back of that, I think you've got to try and have some form of fun with it, because it doesn't
have to be all doom and gloom.
No,
you know, like it's you. And what happens is that you learn to perform gratitude while you're doing it, because you actually learn to appreciate the things that don't cost any money.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like we used to go on picnics to, you know, and sit under the Harbour Bridge down at the rocks there, or at McMahon's Point, and look over the Harbour Bridge, and we'd bring our own food from home, and that would be our Sunday out, and that's our day, right? And, you know, we still do days like that every now and then. It costs you nothing, you know, but you have the best time, and you have no distractions, and you actually look out into the view, and you're grateful for what you have, and you don't realise it, but the best things in life are actually free.
They really are.
Right? And the next best thing is property.
Yeah. 100%. Well, guys, that's going to bring it to a close for this week. We hope we gave you some form of handy tips, I guess, in regards to your saving. Don't be afraid to ask us if you do have more questions in regards, not even just to our services, but just for general help. For saving, for anything regards to property or business or lifestyle. The email would be info@luxland.com.au, or you can just hit up our Facebook or Instagram page. Anyway, guys, that'll wrap us up for another week. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll speak to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.